Good morning, beautiful people. And I think today is the most excited I've ever been to make a video, which should give you an idea of how much I like this episode. I think it may be my favorite one they've ever released so far. Um, I can't think of specific episodes that would rival that. I think it would be like episodes one, maybe five or six in season one, and episode three in this season, but this is definitely better than episode three this season. I'd have to go back to season one. Either way, I think episode six of season two of Wheel of Time is my favorite they've released. Um, and I will just leave it there. I'm just going to get right in. There are so many things in this episode that I think were done right, were done how I thought of them. Like when I was thinking how they would be translated to video, there was like annoying storylines or annoying things that were happening that came to a close. Um, and it all just kind of accumulated in this one episode, and it was so freaking good. I'm gonna get into it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm literally gonna go with the episode on one screen here, and I'm gonna go scene by scene and give my thoughts and reactions on all these scenes. So if there's like a specific moment in the episode that you are listening or want to listen to me talk about, just kind of think of where it was in the episode, and that should kind of line up where it is in this video that I'm talking about things, because there's just way too much in this episode for me to try and like come up with like bullet points from it of like likes and dislikes. There are a couple things that I was maybe that are in the dislike column, but they're so minuscule compared to some of the things that I've talked about already. Um, and it's way outweighed by the things that I liked. I mean, first of all, like the Damane stuff was, in my opinion, perfect adaptation. As far as like the writing of it and the acting from the actors, it was awesome. And then I'll get into it later, but actually no, let me do bullet points so you at least know like what I was a fan of. So first off the bat, I just said it. Damane stuff. I thought Madeline Madden's acting was superb. I thought the way they set her up and the way they wrote her scenes were superb. Her like imagination stuff, showing how that was what she was thinking, so she couldn't touch stuff. Showing they kind of put a little reverb in the Damane to show like when it was doing its thing, so like a visual audience could tell what was going on. I think that was good. Otherwise, it would just be her jerking around, and I think that had more effect, giving it that like lurching sound and like the vibration. And then Rena was acted extremely well. I thought, and then the way they wrote her, like obviously the book sets up a good template, but I think they did a really good job of picking words and lines and stuff from these scenes of the book, book two, to put into this like exposition of just how fucked up the Sanchan are, and it was done so well. All right, I'll be a little shorter on the rest of the things I liked. The Mopey land, not Mopey land, but the land stuff coming to an end. It might not have been perfectly executed how to put him in place and how he told them, but that being over and kind of moving on to the next thing. Um, I liked Moiraine in this episode, doing her thing. I liked that Rand felt a little more personable and likable and less kind of just plot progression in this episode. It felt more like this kind of sweet farm boy that we get, that you kind of love in the like in the series. Matt coming back and getting to see Donald like actually like act, and seeing him interact with Brand was nice. Not sure how the Min thing works there. The one Aja they meet, or Aes Sedai they meet, that reverse chiropractor. I stole this from somebody on Twitter, but she fucking reverse chiropractors that Sanchan chick, and that was nuts. That was pretty gnarly. Like just seeing her fold up like an accordion. I think like the episode showed how like dark the world is, as far like obviously like slavery. It's slavery. It's fucking dark. Um, and then how gruesome it can be when she's just folding her up like a fucking, I don't know, like an accordion. Um, and then, like how in anguish she is when her warder can't kill her. And then she knows she's going to be captured. Uh, there's too much for me to go through. So like, and just try to remember. And I'm just going to go scene by scene and talk about them. So starting now, I'm going to hit play on the episode and go through scenes and basically give summaries and opinions on each scene and what I liked and didn't like. So if that's what you're into, let's get into it. Okay, so right off the bat, we get the scene where Rena is dragging Egwene into the like prison cell, and this was done so good because it does a number of things, right? It shows just like how fucked up it is. First of all, I mean, obviously she's like enslaved. She has a collar around her head, and like Egwene, like the way Madeline Madden is just acting in this feels so realistic. Just in the way the words they say, like in the first 30 seconds, they basically she goes through the lessons of the Idam, and like the pain that the Soldam wears, or the pain the Soldam feels, like the Damane feels twice over. She can't take it off, and like the calm demeanor of Rena is like, so there's been scenes in this show so far where I just feel like they haven't hit like the mood of the people in the room or like what I thought of it, but like this scene, like they do it so well. Everything between these two in this episode is done so well. It's like it's from my head to the screen, and I just like, it's so good, and just the acting is so good. Just how calm Rena is, and just like matter of fact, like this is this, and you are this. I am, and like the disappointment, those of you that don't know, like it's essentially supposed to be written like they think of the Aes Sedai as like pet dogs, and like think like 1960s when people used to like swat their dogs on the nose and stuff like that when they were like being like bad or like getting into stuff. Like that's kind of how this is. It's like they like legitimately like will love Thel Suldam, and like, but they'll obviously it's evil. Like I'm not trying to defend these fucks, but it's so good. This fucking scene, every scene with these two is so fucking good. The way she like pats Egwene on the head as she walks by, she gives it a little scratch, pat and scratch. Like I said, like kind of like dogs. But what I think, and I'm happy they're doing this because I think something that like engages audiences really well are villains that don't know they're villains. They think they are right, and the other person just doesn't understand them, or the other person is the villain. I'm thinking like in my head, I'm thinking of like Umbridge in Harry Potter or something, or like, I guess this person knows they're a piece of shit, but like who's the fucking Bolton dude in Game of Thrones, who is just an absolute fucking menace. Or no, like the Lannisters. Like the Lannisters, they're fucking terrible people sometimes, but they think they're right. Like having the villain that thinks they're the good guy in a show like this, like these fucking Sanchan, as long as they write these interactions right, is such good like TV for me at least, because it makes you so fucking mad. It gets you engaged. It gets you riled up. You want to see them fucking get their comeuppance, and it's good. It's fucking good. It's a good episode. All right, so now we are with Selene, Lanfear, and Rand, and they are in the dream world, which Tel'aran'rhiod or whatever. For those of you that aren't familiar, didn't read the books, it's the world of dreams. That's when they go to sleep, they can do things. It kind of gets better introduced in this episode, and I think there's a scene later, or maybe it's this one where these two, like use this Lanfear and Rand scene at some point to kind of do some exposition on the world of dreams, and I think they do a good job of setting it up. And but anyways, we'll get into that when that comes across. Right now, we have Rand and Lanfear, and she's got this outfit that is essentially like half dark and half light. If like you look, she's got the one sleeve that's all white, and it's like kind of like the Aes Sedai symbol, which is like a yin yang kind of thing. So like her outfit is kind of resembling that. And first off, they get into where she's calling him Lews Therin. So those of you that don't know, Lanfear and the original dragon, Lews Therin Telamon, had a bit of a thing, and she's kind of got this like jealous ex-girlfriend complex because he ultimately chose another woman. I think we got into that when she was talking about her old boyfriend. It was the original dragon. So Rand being the dragon reborn, and her like being having this like extreme jealousy, or is it envy? Um, she basically sees him and is like, hey, you're my ex-boyfriend, but now you're a new person and I am going to get you this time. And so there's that is always going on with these Lanfear scenes. Yes, she is a Forsaken and she a bad guy, but she also like ultimately wants Rand to love her. So like you can almost tell when Rand is like, he's like, I don't trust you. Like, I mean, yeah, she's like, because she has him tied up, she's like, and she unties him. But like, I feel like there's a hint of just like, kind of like that one got her. Because she has taken so many steps back from when she was manipulating Rand before he knew who she was to where she is now. And this scene actually plays out really well. I was really, with the fucking like outfit and stuff and the way things were headed, I was curious how we were going to roll with this. Um, but I think it played out really well. Also, congratulations, Yosha, for being absolutely fucking cut up from the floor up. That must take a ridiculous amount of effort. Good for you, bud. Yeah, so I like that scene quite a bit. And then at the end of it, basically Rand says, okay, well, if you want me to trust you, like, let's figure something out here. Let's work together. Like, you need to do this for me to trust you. And she's like, well, you need to do this for me. And I am 100% sure they're probably both in their heads thinking, how am I going to play the other person? But we'll have to watch and find out what that's going to be. Man, there really is a lot to unpack in this small scene where Rand wakes up and talks to Moiraine and basically gives her the down low on that, because he's like, I have to leave. She's going to kill you if I stay. And like, obviously, like Moiraine, she's got the gears turning because she's been working towards this for 20 years. You got to remember, this is 20 years of Moraine's life. She didn't go to her dad's funeral. She passed up being like this big person with her noble family, or like being an accomplished, well, she is an accomplished Aes Sedai, but like she's given everything up for Rand. So the fact that things are like possibly falling apart, or like he's gonna get away from her, that's a big deal to her. And then he's like, he kind of does care about her because he doesn't want her to die. That's like Rand's thing. He doesn't, it's a thing that Rand does not do well with women being like killed on his part. They'll probably explore that throughout this series. But anyways, so Rand's basically like, I gotta hit the road. Goodbye. Moiraine, obviously in tears, sees her life's work falling apart, and also like now Rand kind of realizes that she was ultimately kind of puppet mastering him to get to Carian in order to meet Logain. She moved Logain, so like he's kind of, things are coming together, and this is something that does happen in the books. Like obviously the sequence of events are different because just the storyline's a little different. But at some point, Rand does kind of come to realize that Moiraine was kind of steering them all the whole time, giving them this illusion of choice, and she was just fucking absolutely finessed them into thinking they were making the decisions for themselves, and it's actually pretty baller. And so that, like I said, this is a tight scene, but it had a lot in it. Finally, it's Mat and Min. oh my god, they're here, and it's only a quick scene, but it's like 20 seconds, and I love it. I need more Matt. Um, there's not much this scene really does except establish that they made it to Karien. They're in that four gate area. People are partying, having a good time. Um, they show the tall puppet thing. It looks like a monster or something like that. Why don't you why don't we take a mental footnote of that person, that thing. Keep it locked in here, and we'll see what happens with that. And then this whole time that Min's walking around, she's like obviously skeeved out. And you got to remember, she can see all her visions. They're probably not showing us what she's seeing at this time for uh, narration purposes. And I wonder if they will show us what's going on in her mind. Um, but she can see possibly fates of some of these people and what's going on. And I don't know what that might be about. But yeah, so a lot going on in this really quick scene. So we jump to this scene with Elaine and Nynaeve, and right off the bat, we have more good Nynaeve like storylines, acting, writing. Elaine tells her to stop pacing. She's like, I'm not pacing, I'm investigating. And there's, yeah, she'd be doing that. I think there's one scene where people, like somebody tells her to like stop yelling or something. She's like, I'm not yelling. It's a good meme. Nynaeve can do no wrong. Also, I don't want to give Nynaeve all the props. Elaine, very good too in this. She very much matches the Elaine that I think of with my brain hole. This next scene did a really good job of something that we see throughout the storyline, and it shows how stubborn sometimes the Aes Sedai can be, or how naive they can be. Basically, it sets up the girls telling this other Aes Sedai, the Aes Sedai that is with them, that Liandrin betrayed them. She's a dark friend. She betrayed the three oaths. I love the way they delivered the line where Elaine's just like every single one of them. That shit was good. Um, and basically like the Black Aja existing is something that like I think they did it once before. Like they're all in denial of its potential existence. Even like as we go through, you're gonna see people that are just no, it can't exist. It can't exist. That would mean there's Aes Sedai dark friends that broke the three oaths. And this the what's her name? X-Ray doesn't have her name in it, but anyways, this Aes Sedai does a really good job of like showing with her facial emotions just like how bugged out she is about this. And it's kind of a big deal. I mean, if like say if you're not a book reader, if you're just watching the show, just basically like this can sound fucked up, but like imagine you had like this organization you were a part of, and then you just straight up found out that there's like, maybe this is a horrible example, but you just found out there's like a fucking hidden like pedophile ring in, oh fuck, that's gonna ruin my video. There's a hidden pedo ring in the fucking like in your organization, and like you're just like, what? No, no, no. So yeah, think that. All right, so everyone knows that I am the number one Liandrin show simp. So this next scene was also pretty fucking good to me. We have Lanfear, Liandrin coming together. She's basically saying, "Why do you work for Ishamael?" And she kind of recruit her, and she sees her son here, who is the reason she swore the oaths to protect her son. And she's basically like, this shit's holding you back, brother. And she doesn't see, I mean, Lanfear does not see this as a person. She's just an awful human. Like, Liandrin, like, shoots the thing at her, the Fireweave or whatever at her, whatever she shoots at her. And fucking Lanfear's just like, nah, fuck that. Because there's just such a power balance between the Forsaken and normal people. So remember that for the show. First one's free. I like that line. I like the way Lanfear is like, I'll flay you alive if you try again. It's terrifying because she is terrifying. And I'm wondering if this is setting up a bit of a conflict point between Lanfear and Liandrin. I don't know the confirmed Forsaken off the top of my head, but I'm wondering if this conflict could potentially replace a conflict with another Forsaken, or a storyline with another Forsaken. We shall find out. But anyways, basically, Lanfear is like, hey, this guy's holding you back. I'm gonna do what you can't do, so you can be the person that you need to be. So yeah, this scene basically sets up where you can see Lanfear is already trying to play her cards against Ishamael. That's a big thing in this series. As those of you that don't know, the Forsaken do not always work together. They are evil fucks, so they kind of connive against each other in this struggle for power, because that's why most of them went to the dark, for power, control. So they still want more. They fight with each other for power and control. And so she's basically making this play towards Liandrin to get her on her side. And she, in her head, she kills her fucking son, and I think she kills him. That's what I got from this scene. And man, or maybe it was just a threat saying like, work for me. And then she's like, there are many paths through the night, or way to walk through the night. Anyways, great fucking scene. Just good delivery. And I think what this episode does so well that make me so like it so much, other than like maybe like one or two scenes that go a smidge too long, every scene, every couple instances is plot forwarding, exposition, getting things ready, and it's all shit that in my brain is like, yeah, that's important. We need that. We need more of that. None of some of the other things that I haven't agreed with. I'm gonna back to the episode. This is gonna be an hour-long video. The Surath scene with Loial and this scene where he does the tree singing. It was cool to see the tree singing. Thought the sound they did with like the big bass and stuff was kind of cool. It's a thing Ogier can do. They can basically tree sing and like make these plants grow. It's kind of their thing, among other skills. But like I think this was just kind of to show us that Surath is just not the mature kind of leader character that you would want. I mean, you can tell like when the attention is off her, she like starts clapping to get it back on her and basically whisks Loial away. And all this vain rich people shit, just showing how much she sucks. And that's basically what I got out of this scene. So Ingtar tells Loial where the horn is being guarded, and also he tells her where Egwene is. And important piece from this is the way Ingtar basically says that they are so bound by their code of honor that they don't even really have the horn guarded, because these people are just so in control of their like society, their slaves, their people, that they can't imagine somebody betraying their oaths or anything, because the punishment is so severe. So the horn is just lightly guarded, and then the Damane are actually more heavily guarded than literally the Horn of Valyr, which is supposed to be this super magic, like powerful item. So keep that clocked in your brain hole. Like I said, how they do this next scene with Egwene, where they do like this like what is going on in her head, where she just beats the shit out of Rena when she comes into the room, and then they pan back to her like sitting there, and she goes to try and do it and she can't. Very good way to like visualize on screen like the idea of like her not being able to, if she thinks of something as a weapon and wants to do something, she won't be able to do it. Really good scene, because really well acted, because when she goes to grab that cup and she just fucking bounces back and just wreathes in pain. These were so well done. The line I think hits the hardest is the one where she's like, it must be hard to grow up thinking you were a person only to realize you were a Damane instead. I think that was a good one for them to include, just to kind of show how these Shan-chan think of women who can channel. It sets up like there's a cultural thing where they like legitimately all think that like these female channelers should be leashed and are dangerous, and it's like obviously there's no like this isn't a case for like forgiving them or understanding them, but like it just shows how fucked up they are, and like the weird balance of like literally like this like Rena is like it's a dog trainer. She's like that's the way they do it, and it's just so fucked up, and I hate him so much, and I just want her to fucking die. Anyways, and Egwene tries to fucking punch her, and it bounces back and hits her in the face, and she feels the pain, and it's oh, this is gonna be hard to watch over the next few episodes, but damn, they did a really good job with it. I'm gonna stop like getting so in depth to this, but like then there's this overall story arc or whatever of the whole her being able to pour the glass of water, where like throughout the episode she can't do it, she can't touch that vase because all she can think about is smashing her in the head with it every time she touches it, and like gradually over the episode, eventually she wears down to where she can actually pour the water in the glass, and that was an interesting way, I guess, to go to show the kind of slow break or whatever of this relationship or where it's going. I don't want to get too far into it because there's definitely spoiler territory about things. Um, but I just like the way that was done, and I, ugh, it's so good. I hate them so much. Quick scene where Shamael is approaching Min in her dreams, basically still trying to get her to do things for him, using her, saying he's going to cure her of her curse. Um, Min, I don't think that's going to happen, or it's going to be like the whole monkey's paw thing. But basically, I think she can kind of realize at this point, like the fact that he's changing his terms of what they agreed on, that she can't trust him at all. So I really don't think Min is gonna actually kind of follow through with this. The only thing that kind of is in question is the whole her vision of Matt stabbing Rand thing. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Um, ooh, maybe that is Ishamael like influencing her, so she thinks that Matt's maybe a bad guy, so then she'd be more likely to do it because he knows that she wouldn't, unless she maybe doubts Matt. I don't know how he would do that, but maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. Next scene. All right, this is gonna be my first critique of the episode so far, and it this whole plot line with Lan and these other dudes has felt so awkward. Like, so Lan, they have like Lan says this shit about, oh, did you believe the Forsaken had all these powers and stuff, and like it's like they're trying to debate the viewer into thinking that Lan could actually be a dark friend. Like, why the fuck would he say that? And then you've got the warders that are obviously hearing him say that, so then they're gonna be like, oh shit, maybe Lan totally a dark friend. And then Lan's like laying on the ground here, and he goes to fucking leave in the middle of the night because he thinks they're banging. And like fucking Maxim is just like standing by his horse, and Lan just somehow didn't know that, and like was gonna like he thought he was gonna walk off. Like Lan would know or be able to hear and see these two dudes. Like he would know where they are at all times, like unless they can teleport. Like that's just what Lan is. Like he would have seen them go into the tent, and he would have this it's a show. They need to move plot forward, but I just don't think it I think it was a disservice to Lan, just the way they went about doing this scene. Once again, I know it's to forward the plot and to get these people to move to point B, but like you're telling me Lan couldn't say like him and Moraine are on a fucking special ops mission, highty tighty, like for the Amerlin, without saying that it is because they found the Dragon Reborn. Like the Lan couldn't think of that. Like he couldn't come, like not even lie, but just like be like, guys, I'm not a fucking dark friend. You can, I'm I need to tell the fucking Amerlin seat something important about the mission she sent Moraine on. You can fucking bound me up and weave me and drag me to her if you need to. But it's a TV show and they need to move the plot forward. Unfortunately, I just didn't think that the way they put it together I just wasn't. It's I don't know. It just felt like sloppy writing. I'll just say it. I don't. Eh. fast forward to Rand. He is having a nightmare that he's murdered all of his friends and family. And basically, Ishamael appears and be like, "This is your fate from the madness of the Taint on sighting." Yeah. So, in case you forgot, male channelers go insane. Luce there in the first one, he went insane, murdered his whole family, and then basically nuked himself and raised a mountain of earth and fire, of basically a giant volcano when he eventually fucking flipped his lid and died. Um, so yeah, the obviously, so that was the first dragon. So like the second dragon could potentially have some big downsides if he goes crazy. So there's this scene where they're basically it shows Ishamael trying to manipulate Rand, basically saying like, well, so I think that this was actually Lanfear projecting Ishamael, and then she makes him go away. So because she's trying to earn Rand's trust. I don't think Ishamael was actually involved here. I think this was just all Lanfear, like trying to play him. But anyways, yeah, cool scene. So yeah, these bargaining chips. She basically said Rand. She gives Rand this thing, and he's like, "Who do you want?" She's like, "Who do you want to see?" And he chooses Egwene. Obviously, finds out that she is in chains, and this is a scene from the books I remember that I liked or whatever, where basically like Egwene sees Rand in her dreams or whatever, and just the way they set this up was kind of pulled on the heartstrings a little bit. And then Rand comes back, and he's like, or like Lanfear stops it short because she's a jealous mf'er, and she sees how much Rand is just in love with Egwene or whatever. And so you pan back, and you can see the kind of really good actress for Lanfear, because you can see it in her face that she's obviously struggling with how much her ex-boyfriend loves this other woman. And then Rand is basically pleading with her that like, please, like, where is she? How do I help her? Blah blah blah. So Rand basically says he'll do anything to get to Egwene, and of course Lanfear basically gets her way because now he thinks that this is 100% Ishamael's fault, and that Lanfear is going to help him or help Rand find Egwene, and that just moves along Lanfear's plot of getting her ex-boyfriend to fall in love with her. So we get this next scene with Moiraine and her sister and nephew, and basically she's being cold and distant because she's trying to figure her fucking life out. She's going through a lot. And they do this little exposition of her sister telling her that when her dad died, her dad just wanted her. Like she was the person he called out for. And just good emotional play here, giving us the viewer some insight on like everything Moiraine has sacrificed to find the Dragon Reborn, to find Rand, and now like she finally found him, and he's slipping away, and her plans and stuff. All these years are, it's coming undone, and I think they're doing a good job of setting up the emotional side of this for Moiraine, because it is a big fucking deal. Um, Imagine loving your dad and skipping his funeral, knowing he wanted you to be there because there's something so important to the world that you had to go there, and then you do it and it slips away from you. That would suck. Next scene. We have Swan Sanche back on screen. I don't know if this is the first time for this season or whatever, but she's riding her motorcade. They kind of do this little swap where it shows the seal of her letter on Moraine's desk, showing that they've been in contact. So she's on her way to Carrion, probably to meet Rand, see Moraine, but meet Rand. And why are there so few people in this procession with literally the most important person on the planet? And like they do this thing where like they hear the horses approaching, and it sets up this big ah, like there might be someone outside her carriage. What could it be? How is it possible for the Amerlin seat to be in a situation like that? Beats me. But anyways, luckily it was Lan. Um, Crazy how all my critiques seem to focus centrally around this whole progression of like what's going on with Lan, Alana, Maxim, and fucking Ivan. is what it is. But like, I swear to God, it's just fucking happened to be that way. But anyways, plot progression, Land probably spills the beans about what's going on, where Moiraine, blah blah blah, and that the Forsaken have been released, and that everyone's in danger, yada yada yada. So Rand goes to Logain to like kind of try and have him teach him how to do the power. I'm not gonna get into how like the logistics of like Logain being stilled and being able to teach Rand, because I just don't quite understand, and I feel like you could do like an hour-long theory video on that, because Logain can see talent like ta'veren and shit like that, so maybe like he can just see like the power and talent in Rand, or I don't know. But anyways, it kind of sets Logain up to where he's kind of maybe he's seeing Rand as like his potential to like do good in this life if he can teach Rand and make Rand become like who he wanted to be. Like there's a lot that he doesn't really say all that much, but I feel like from his actions and the way he interacts here, the way he talks to Rand, and he's just like, listen, bro, with as much power as you have, you don't need to be an expert. Like, you just fucking. And yeah, so, and then, oh, at the end of it, Rand like throws up, and that is from the taint on Saidin basically affecting his body and making him vomit. You will see this again in the future. So if you have a vomit on screen issues, I'm sorry, but get used to it. Because using the source does not come without its consequences. Perhaps my actual favorite scene from this episode, we have Rand and Mat coming together, and it just warms my heart. The way they embrace, how happy they are. Mat leaves his dice game and gets fucking stolen. He doesn't care. His buddy is back. It kind of brings me back to like season 1 when they kind of made Mat seem like the friend that they like didn't really like, was just there. Weird. But anyways, they love each other and they hug, and I almost cried, and I was so happy. Jump back to Egwene, and we have a scene that is like it's like a training session scene, and I'm watching like the still on my screen right now, and it's Rena when she's looking at her right after they link up, and she's like so like sincere about this, and she's like, doesn't it feel so much better when we're linked? And it's just so creepy, and just the way that this looks on screen, how she is just full of conviction about it. And obviously Egwene is like beaten up over this, and just the fucking relationship and the way they go about it this episode is so good. And yeah, so basically they link up, and Egwene channels fire or heat into this tree, sets it on fire. She basically boils it from the inside and cooks it. And Ren is explaining how the Shanchan use their power. And it was fucking just a banger scene, man. Really good. Yeah, because they have this like moment where they like are linked, and she fucking sets it on fire, and Rena's all psyched about it. And then she tries to do the water pouring thing, thinking Egwene's gonna be able to do that, and they're best buddies now. But Egwene still can't touch the water because she's fucking not she's not gonna break like that. And then you can see it on the fucking Rena's face. She's like just absolutely crushed and devastated. And this is really well acted. Like it's like the Ralph Wiggum meme from The Simpsons, where it's like you can pinpoint the moment her heart breaks. I know I used this in my last video, but like you can see her face kind of contort, and then she goes full psycho mode because these people are fucking pieces of shit, and they treat people like dogs, and she starts to dogs in the '60s. She starts to kick the shit out of Egwene, and I fucking hate her so much. Oh, a really good fucking scene, man. Another heartwarming scene with Mat and Rand, where basically they are talking about how they're gonna go and save Egwene, and then also they're telling each other that no, like, stop being sad boys, like we aren't better without each other. We're apes strong together, and it's really cute. And basically they decide they're gonna go off and save Egwene together, and they're gonna leave in an hour, which sets up the next scene, which I hope they remedy, it kind of broke my heart. I guess I'll just get to that when we get to it. So Matt goes to see Min and tell her that he's leaving and that he saw her friend. She spills the beans that she saw the vision and that she's known about this. And Matt kind of comes to this slow realization that he's been on Aes Sedai puppet strings. Well, he's gonna think it's Aes Sedai at least, not Ishamael. And he's obviously very sad because he thought Min was like his only friend in this world because he had abandoned his old friends. He met someone new. They had this big journey, and now he's realizing that part of it was all a fucking ruse to get him to pull his strings. And so, importantly, we had both Rand and Matt both realize that what they thought was their free will and their stubborn attitudes leading them somewhere was actually puppets, string pulling. And our Two Rivers boys do not cope well with being told what to do or realizing that they were duped. So obviously he is very sad, and also she's like, "Listen, you're gonna fucking kill your friend. Stay away from him if you love him." So now we get this scene where Matt was gonna go off with Rand, and he's sitting there and he's got to watch Rand leave and basically abandon his friend again, because he thinks that he's gonna hurt Rand. And boy, oh boy, is it sad, especially watching this a second time through and just going through it over and over again. It is a big sad. So Rand goes to leave the city, and of course, he runs into Lan, Alana, and her warders, and they're like, "Hey, sorry, I told people you're the Dragon Reborn now, and so we can't let you leave." And that's where they leave that. I haven't watched the preview for the next episode, actually, but obviously that's going to lead to some conflict. Um, I don't think Rand's gonna go. Well, no, because I have seen the one preview where he's walking up to the Amerlin seat, so maybe he does follow them. But either way, seeing Lan just kind of hulk up, be like, "No, you ain't going nowhere, kid." That was nice. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the next episode. I wonder if we're gonna get the scene where he talks to the Amerlin seat in Fal Dara in the first beginning of the second book, and we're gonna get that now. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm guessing it'll play out kind of the same, but I won't say how. All right, these next pieces and parts. There's a lot in it, and it's like two scenes going on simultaneously. So I'm going to talk about the one with the Aes Sedai and her warder, and the Seanchan coming down on them with Elaine and Nynaeve first. So basically, when they were trying to figure out how to use the bracelet, Nynaeve channeled it, sent out the bat signal for the Seanchan to come there. And basically, the Aes Sedai was like, they're coming to look for a woman who can channel, so I'm going to give them one. So they go out into the street, pistols at noon, and basically fucking face down these Seanchan. Water's kicking ass. She's fucking doing stuff, but ultimately there are just too many of them. And there was a lot of cool things in this scene. I thought the weaving looked really good. Like the weaving of them, the Seanchan doing their thing looked really good. I think we've come a long way since when they were like revealed in, I don't know what it was, like the little tidbit at the end of episode 8 of the first season that like showed them just making that wave. Just for me will always remain goofy, and some of the channeling in the first season will always remain looking goofy, but it looks so much better now. It looks much more like fluent, like it doesn't look so rigid and awkward, and like what they do and the way they CGI the weaves looks so much better. So this scene has basically all that. It's got the Seanchan doing things. You got the weaves happening. And what I noticed the second time watching is when she's fucking bending this lady like a pretzel. Like she's got the weaves between her hands, and you can see, and it's like essentially the weaves of her, like her spine as she's cracking and folding her. Very cool scene. A lot of stuff that I am like, a lot of things that I've complained about in the past are in this scene, but the way a way I am happy seeing them, and it was so good. And then it was so sad when her warder, she wanted the warder to kill her so she wouldn't be collared, and he gets fucking spirit sorted by the one lady, and he can't do it. And then she gets collared, and just seeing the look on her face on God was very sad. And so, yeah, we are. It's a really good fucking scene, and obviously the girls are up watching that, and it's basically like we can't help them because if we try to help her, we won't be able to help Egwene because they'll end up captured too. And like them both being people that want to help people, just seeing this play out in front of them was terrifying, and it must have taken a huge toll on them. But they know that they need the help of Egwene, and they can help this lady in the process, but they can't do it if they get caught right now. So they just have to shut up and watch this happen. And this is a very powerful scene. The music they have going on in the background, how they jump back and forth to Egwene, it was really fucking good. I was on the edge of my seat. This episode is so fucking good. So the other side of this scene is with Rhaena and Egwene, and basically Rhaena is still pissed about the getting stiffed on the last time, and she's trying to get across to Egwene about the whole water thing and like trying to make it so she isn't like trying to fight with her. And man, this one was a tough one because I love Egwene, I love the actress, and this was so well played out and done that it really pulled on those heartstrings. And obviously it was fucked up, and like she fucking isn't be able to pour the water, and fucking Rena like hangs her up on the like the chain thing, and she's fucking sitting there kicking and struggling and stuff like that, and like sets her down. And like I don't want to get too far into the scene because like the whole thing is just like a fucking like it's just a long torture scene trying to break her, and ultimately Egwene is able to pour the water, which is really sad. But like at the same time, like knowing Egwene, I feel like she's like somehow just tricked her brain into being able to accept this, even though she knows she's gonna fucking fight till the day she dies. And she's able to pour the water, and then the girl just fucking dumps it on the ground and leaves. And yeah, it was fucked up. And ultimately, like she chugs a pitcher and she fucking cries out about what just happened, and like what her life, like what she maybe thinks her life is gonna be. She at this point maybe she thinks she's not getting out. Um, I don't remember quite the internal dialogue from the books, but like just like seeing this play out on screen is something. And then I remember seeing this back when this lady was dispatched to go investigate rumors of strange things happening on the coast. The Blue Aja sitter is in the cell next to her, and she's like, "I was a sitter of the Blue Aja, and you lasted longer than I did, or whatever." And so I called that. I called that in season one. I don't think it was that much of a call. I think it was pretty obvious. But yeah, so that just shows how fucking strong Egwene is, and how um, fucking much of a badass she is. And God, I hope she gets out of there, and I hope it's soon because it's big sad seeing this, and it's gonna be big sad seeing it again. I hope, not I hope, but like hopefully next episode they move into like some more of the other sides of the relationship rather than just like the repeated torture scenes. Because I do, man, I just feel bad. I know it's all like fantasy. It's literally off of a written book. It's not even like this is a real story of like like IRL stuff, but like still, it's sad. So, anyways, that is how our episode ends with Egwene in tears, crying on the ground after she was essentially just tortured and had her free will broken. That's quite a sentence to say, and it's just shows the magnitude of what this show can actually be and how well it was executed in this episode. There's just so many like stories and storylines and scenes in this show that if they're all done like this was today, this will be such a good series. And I just really hope, honestly, whoever wrote and directed this episode, get rid of everyone else and keep them. End any of this Lan arc bullshit. Get that back on track. And so maybe it's not that I don't think people. It's not that I Lan, I think, was just a miss this season, and it's not the whole me thinking he's too mopey thing. I just think a lot of the Lan stuff was written as plot progression pieces, and there wasn't a lot of thought into like, well, Land's smarter than this. Land knows this. He wouldn't do this. Like this wouldn't be said. Regardless, hopefully that's done. And then we have Rand. All the pieces are in motion. I don't know how Rand and Mat are gonna work. Maybe Mat sticks around and like goes with the rest of the gang or something like that. Or I don't know. But yeah, back on track to my summary. This was, I think, my favorite episode of Wheel of Time so far. There might be like one or two episodes in season one. I liked episode 3 this season, and the other episodes, but not like as much as this one. They all had their own faults. So I would say this is at least like bare minimum. This is an 8 for me. Give or take a few things, and then just like I say 8 because like a 10 would be like this level of execution, but like Dumais Wells or stuff in Memory of Light, like shit like that is what I'm reserving for the 10 out of 10 proper execution, the best shit in the story. So 8. Yeah, I'll stay with 8. I guess you could argue for a 7. No, 7 feels low. I really love this. 8 out of 10. Like, but like I said, 10 out of 10 is fucking gold standard, the best shit in this show. Anyways, I guess I don't have to really summarize that much. I went in pretty good detail as things went on when I was talking. But yeah, loved the episode. Can't wait for next week. Hopefully it's not like a fall in action and then a climax in episode 8. I feel like episode 5 was a fall in action, and there's just not enough episodes to have an entire episode lull. There's only 8 in a season. So we need, if they carry this energy to the end of the season, season 2 will be such a fucking absolute banger that I think we'll really have some fucking awesome ground to work with here. But anyways, thank you for staying for this obviously probably extremely long video. It's this might be a fucking hour long. I don't know. So I should cut it short. Thank you for watching. Can't wait for next week's episode. I'm looking forward to it. And I will see you in the next one.